No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
Hi, everybody. If you're watching this live, today is Saturday, March 27th. It looks like I'm a little out of sync. Please tell me if I am. I'd like to know. It's a little weird. Hey, everybody. This is Will Bowen, #1 international best-selling author and founder of the Complaint-Free Movement with over 14 million followers around the world. And I am really grateful to have this opportunity to be with you every morning, so that we can jumpstart our day in a positive way. Remember, the price of being a jumpstarter is that you need to share something you are grateful for. Share something you are grateful for. And I'm doing a little bit of tweaking here. So yeah, I'd love to know. For some reason, what I'm seeing is I'm vastly out of sync. Grateful for my 5 senses. Karen Hampton says, great, that's good to see. Willow says, grateful you interviewed Christine Lewis Holbaum yesterday. Yeah, she was great, Willow. You're in sync. Thank you. Good to know. Everybody be sure and share what you're grateful for. Tell me what you are grateful for. Let me give that some thought myself. Well, I'm grateful that it's Saturday. I'm grateful that I'm doing a speech today at 11 o'clock. So yeah, I would say that's it. I get to inspire some people today at 11 o'clock. Oh, Willow says I'm buffering now. I'm going to try something while I'm live, and hopefully it'll fix this issue. And that is, I'm going to plug in my cord. I don't know why this would start doing this now, but hopefully that will resolve the issue if I'm able to switch to this. So everybody tell me what you are grateful for, please, this morning. Jump in and say hello. And let me see. Okay, this says that I am now connected through my Thunderbolt, which should be the fastest. So I absolutely should not be buffering. So if you see that, please let me know, because I'd like to know. Grateful for sleeping in today. How do you do that? I've hit this point now. I guess it's because I'm 61, but man, 4 o'clock, I'm wide awake. 4:30, and I'm like, I'm going to lie here. I'm just going to lie here. I'm going to sleep some more. I'm going to meditate, do something like that. But I don't go back to sleep, and it's okay. Share what you're grateful for, if you would, this morning before we get into today's Jumpstart. Grateful for spring break, says Susan. I'm glad to hear that. I'm grateful that even though it is spring break here in Key Largo, I'm not seeing a lot of spring breakers, and that's good because they tend to be a lot louder, a lot noisier, and leave a lot more trash around. Good morning from South Carolina, says Michelle. Grateful for these jump starts. Although I did not know any of you personally, you have been such a positive start to my day. Thank you. Do you see that? That's awesome. That's why we want to share this every day. We're building a network, a community of happy, healthy people. I feel grateful for right-sized pride. Pride is nothing more than recognizing the value of success and accomplishments within myself and others. I've been hearing too many people say pride is evil. I agree with that, Ed. Yeah, I think that there's nothing wrong with feeling good about what it is you have done in the past. My mother had so many. If there was a negative quote, my mom memorized it. You know, be nice to people on the way up. You're going to meet them on the way down. Pride goeth before a fall. That was one she used to always say to me. And as I've also shared before, I remember one of the things I keenly remember was hearing an interview with Muhammad Ali while we were driving. My mom was driving our carpool to school. And he was like, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. And my mom proceeded to go on and on and on about how terrible it was that this man loved himself, that loving yourself is the worst thing. Explains a lot for me. Don't know who this is, but it says happy Saturday, 30. I do know. Northwoods of Wisconsin, expecting rain today. Grateful for the peace and quiet of the woods. I heard that. Grateful for possibilities every moment of learning, says Barbara Joe. I'm also grateful for my coffee and my new mugs. I bought new mugs, new dishes, and I'm getting ready to shoot a video this morning. So as soon as we are complete, I'm going to be shooting a video that I'll tell you more about later. All right. Today, I don't have a banner because it's Saturday. And again, if I'm out of sync, somebody let me know. It's still showing out of sync on my computer. And I think I know what I can do in the future to prevent that. What I want to talk with you today about is, you're not going to believe it, Ted Lasso, the TV show. Now, don't click off because I've talked about it incessantly, if I'm using the right word, nonstop. And I highly recommend the show. It's on Apple Plus. It's Ted Lasso. It's Jason Sudeikis. Very, very inspiring, very funny, very touching. It hits on all points. And there are a number of really good quotes from the show. And I've talked about some of them in the past. And there's actually somebody on Etsy has various t-shirts with Ted Lasso quotes on them. And I ordered 2 of them right before I clicked go live this morning. So I've got a couple of Ted Lasso shirts headed my way. And I'm excited about that. Oops, I'm getting texts I should have turned off. There we go. All right. So the t-shirts that I bought, let's see if I remember, was number 1, what animal has the shortest memory span? The answer is a goldfish. It has a 10-second memory span. Therefore, it's the happiest animal in the world because he can't remember anything bad that happened to it. So he tells people to be a goldfish. So I ordered that one. I didn't say that quote very well. But there's another quote that he says that is actually from Walt Whitman. And I actually want to talk about this today because this is going to help you a lot. I know it has helped me a lot recently. And so let me tell you an embarrassing personal story. It's not that embarrassing, but not long ago, they were doing construction here, and I decided I was going to go and try and find a place to eat where I could sit outside. So there's a beach down here called Iguana Beach, and I went down there, and there's a restaurant right next to it. And I went into the restaurant, never been there before, asked if they could do me something vegan. They said, well, normally we only do it at dinner, but yeah, we'll do it for lunch. Really nice. And then this guy seated me. He said, where do you want to sit? I said, I'm right over there out of the shade. So he took me over there and seated me. This was their server. So I'm sitting there, and up walks a guy who's obviously their management. We need to find a new show? What are you talking about, Ed? Anyway, grateful for a family sing-along as we woke up and had our tea. That's nice. Hot milk and coffee with our granddaughter. Very, very cool. All right. Find me a new show. Oh, I get it, Ed. Okay, got it. So anyway, going back to this story, I was sitting there and up walked the manager. Now, the guy had seated me and Teddy was with me and he was wearing his emergency, and not emergency, I always say that, emotional support vest, which there's no real, if you have, you can buy these emotional support vests on Amazon. There's no like certification program or anything that I know of. And I've had several people tell me there's not. So I'm sitting there with Teddy and the manager walks up and rather brusquely says, you can't sit here with dogs. Okay. Now, his statement wasn't great. I mean, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, but I don't know who seated you here. We don't allow dogs under this particular area. Would you like for me to find you another seat? That would have been a much better way to handle it than to say to me, you can't sit under here with a dog, just like that. Now, I responded in kind, or as I like to say, unkind. I wouldn't say he came at me. It just was not really nice or kind. And so my immediate response was, your guy seated me here. Now, when I said your guy seated me here, I could see that that how I said that or what I said was not necessarily conducive to a positive conversation. In other words, what I'm saying is I could see just with his mask on, the reaction on his face, that he was like, man, that wasn't very nice. Now, the fact that I said, your guy seated me here, it's not a bad response, but I'm always looking for better. I'm always looking to improve myself. I want to get through life and have people smile, think about me and smile, that we managed to get through things. And, so anyway, I was talking with someone about this and they gave me a recommendation. I was like, what could I have said differently? And she said very simply, you might have said, well, then oh, okay. Well, I wonder why your server seated me here. And we talked this through for a while, and I was like, that does seem softer. It does seem nicer. And I'm like, the difference is I made a statement that began with you. And instead, what she was recommending I say was, I wonder why your server seated me here. All of a sudden, we're having a conversation. I'm in wonder. So the quote I want to give you from Ted Lasso today, and I'll actually type it in. Well, actually, it's in the description. Be curious, not judgmental. Be curious, not judgmental. It's actually a quote from Walt Whitman. And on the show, Ted explains the quote, and then he is playing darts with someone and some big stakes on the line. And the guy just presumes, since Ted's from America, that he can't throw darts. And it turns out that he's an excellent dart thrower. And so he wins this bet. And as he is winning it, he's saying, if I were you, I would have been curious, not judgmental, like Walt Whitman. Like, hey, Ted, have you played a lot of darts? To which I would have said, yes, I have. Hey, Ted, are you any good? To which I would have said, yes, I am. We tend to go immediately into judgmental mode instead of being curious. And I noticed this the other day when I was talking with an old friend of mine. And we were talking about something, and I expressed an opinion about something, and he immediately began to say, you're wrong. It actually is this way. Now, he just feels very differently about it. Now, when he said you're wrong, what do you think I wanted to come back with? No, you're wrong, and here's why. And there's nothing wrong with friends engaging in some banter and working stuff out. However, I did feel a little riled, I have to say, when he just said, you're wrong, and da-da-da-da-da. I was talking with another old friend about the fact that I don't eat, that I'm vegan and all this kind of stuff. And the person was just, rah, 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 and I was like, be curious, not judgmental. In other words, you might want to say, well, why are you vegan? And why do you eat these specific things? And why do you believe that? If we can begin to have more questions and less statements, we're going to have a lot better time with other people and ourselves as well. We tend to judge ourselves. We do something and we say, oh, that was stupid or whatever, instead of saying, well, I wonder what caused me to do that. I wonder why. When you make a statement, that's an ending. When you ask a question, that's an opening. Tony Robbins, I went to see his Unleash the Power Within decades ago. And he talked about the way we control the human mind is through questions, not statements. Have you ever noticed blank gets people? Their minds all of a sudden start going. Can you remember when you were 6 years old? Has this ever happened to you? By the way, that is still the most popular and best way to begin a direct response television commercial. Has this ever happened to you? It's a question and it puts the person into it. As you know, there are a number of people who live around me who don't believe the way I do, who really don't even believe that the pandemic's a real thing, think it's some sort of a Democrat plot or something like that, don't wear masks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I noticed that when I began to ask myself, well, I wonder why they believe that. Well, I know why they believe that. It's what they're exposed to. I wonder why they expose, because then I get mad and say, well, they should expose themselves to something else. No, they expose themselves to the type of media they expose themselves to, and that's simply going to make them a product of it. So I now have an answer. So why would I be upset? Do you understand what I mean? And the same is true for other people. I wonder why. I wonder why is a great, great question. I wonder why you believe that way. Oh, I wonder where you came up with that. I wonder this, I wonder that. I wonder. Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, he called himself the founder of McDonald's. The McDonald brothers were actually the founders of McDonald's. Said that as long as you're green, you're growing. As soon as you're ripe, you're ready to rot. And we all walk around with all of these opinions. When I was talking to my friend about me being vegan the other day, I kept saying, because I'm very conscious of this, I'm not saying my way of eating is right. I'm saying that this is what I've chosen to do for the last 11 years, and I've experienced some benefits, so I'll probably continue to do that. And I also believe that I'm having a better impact on the world by my personal choices. And those are my personal choices, and that's all it is. I don't need to try and convince anyone else to eat, walk, talk, think like me, because I'm always curious as to whether or not what I'm doing is the best thing. What I'm doing today is not what I was doing 10 years ago. So we need to stay open. We need to stay flexible. We need to stay curious. I wonder why. I wonder why. Let's take a look. I'm seeing a whole bunch of comments pop up. Everybody, if you got a chance to, and just because I said I wonder why, it's your opportunity to click share. Please click share and type share. Let's get other people being curious rather than being judgmental. And if you're here for the very first time, please let us know so we can celebrate you. Find me a new show, says Ed. I got it. I feel like we are always seeking approval. I think that is true. And I think that a person who does not, in some ways, measure themselves by the reactions of other people. Now, hear me out about this. I'm not saying being a people pleaser, but what I'm saying is that if my daughter and I are discussing something we're going to do with regards to the complaint-free world, and I say, I think we should do this, and I can see on her face this, then I'm like, oh, maybe I should have presented that in more of a questioning fashion. I was thinking about Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, this morning. You know, everybody sings the praises of Steve Jobs as a modern day Da Vinci, and I believe he truly was. However, the person who took Apple to $1 billion was not Steve Jobs, it was Tim Cook. And I read an article recently, I think it was in Business Insider magazine, that talked about how Tim Cook most often forwards an email to someone. If a problem comes to him, he will forward it to the person whose responsibility it is to handle. Now, he does not say, handle this, take care of this. Why did this happen? This should have never happened. His most common response is thoughts, question mark. Thoughts, question mark. In other words, he sends it to the person who's responsible. He doesn't tell them to do it. He doesn't ask why they do it. Just say, what are your thoughts on why this was not handled well? And it keeps the conversation open. He's curious. He's not judgmental. Perfectly said. Okay, I don't know what this is, but we do not allow people to post external links. So I'm going to hide this and then I'm going to remove it. So just so you'll know, there are no postings of external links in my JumpStarts. All right, great. Barbara says, yes, managed to get through things. This is the way to reach others, not statements. I can stop violence with stop. We need to keep everyone safe here. Just stop. I will use I wonder why. Great. I'm really working that into my work as well. Glory Rosebud says, I need to hear this. No one has clicked shared. Who's going to click share? Willow says, I love how on Facebook I can wonder if a problem can be solved and get answers every time. People are great. Isn't that amazing? Wonderful. We've got Natalia from Russia. Great to see you. Great to see you. Welcome. Robert Reich does that at the end of his posts. Your thoughts? Very good. Robert Reich, former Secretary of Commerce, if I'm right. I may be just totally wrong. All right, everybody, listen, go through today. Willow's our first share. Who else is going to share? Go through today and try and say, I wonder why, as many times as you can. When you read a post, instead of getting pissed off about it, when your racist uncle posts, and by the way, there's a great quote in Ted Lasso. It's like, well, it's not like your uncle's a racist. And he goes, well, my uncle's 60 years old and lives outside of Liverpool. Of course he's a racist. Anyway, this was on the show. I'm not saying this. The point I'm trying to make is that ask yourself, I wonder why this person feels this way. I wonder why they would feel that way. That opens you up to compassion and understanding rather than judgment. Also, I wanted to throw this out because of driving along the expressway here in Miami. We were doing that just the other day. And there are people who drive like Grand Theft Auto, period, full stop. They drive like they are playing Grand Theft Auto, and they do it a lot. And at first, I used to go a-hole in my mind, jerk, a-hole. And now I go, I wonder why they're driving that way. I wonder why they're driving that way. So just give it some thought. Labor Secretary. That's right, Willow. Thank you so much. Gloria says, I'm sharing and grateful for a beautiful weather today. Glad to hear that. Labor Secretary. Crystal is here. I might use this thoughts idea with my work, giving colleagues feedback. It is a great way. I wonder why you chose to do it that way. I wonder why you went in this direction. The other day, my daughter and I, Leah, bless her heart, poor thing, she's lived her life in the public eye. We were talking about, we did a division of labor, and I was going to handle writing all these emails. And she instead went in and did my work. Now, she was trying to be helpful, and at the same time, she didn't do her work. And at first I was like, and then I said, I wonder why you did that. And she came, at first I was like, my ego wanted to bust her for it. Why didn't you do your work? Don't do my work. And then she said, I did it because I know you had your COVID shot and you weren't feeling well, and I wanted to take that burden off of you. Thank God I asked, I wonder why, before saying, why did you? Don't say, why did you? Say, I wonder why. Thinking about starting a conversation with a question may help me shift from reacting to responding. That is absolutely true, Ed. It's true for all of us. Listen, everybody, thanks so much for being here. I look forward to being with you tomorrow. And we build this positive online community because you click share. I saw yesterday that I think the one I did on guns has had many thousands of views. I don't get caught up in that. My goal is, I always feel like metaphysically we believe there's only one of us here, so I'm always talking to myself. So I'm glad you're here so I can help you and be with you, and enjoy today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more complaining people. Their lives are changing.